a singer, and then eventually I got to hear he was a doctor. And it was doctor, doctor. Now I have to check myself every time I'm about to call him or address him to make sure I give him the correct salutation, Professor Mutale. And that's wonderful progress, Professor. And I'm sure you indeed are a motivation to many people, not just in this room, but even elsewhere here in Zambia and abroad. And so today we are all about appreciating, as we say, giving you your flowers, indeed, while you are here with us. And so we would like to hear the stories, and I'm sure there are many. If we were to give time to everybody to share their story about Professor Mutale, with Professor Mutale, we'll probably be here till Monday, if not beyond. But we don't have that kind of time tonight. So we've selected a few to represent everybody else. And so the first representatives that I'm going to invite to come up are going to give us a context to the whole story of Professor Mutale. So you can consider these like installments of his life, segments, chapters of his life. And the first chapter that we're going to look at, we've entitled it Foundations of a Life of Excellence, or the Training Ground. And this one is going to look at his childhood and his school. The theme for this particular segment is your background is not a prison, it is your training ground. And so I'm going to now invite Kusuwila Nachalwe Mbao. Let's give a big round of applause to Kusuwila Nachalwe Mbao as she comes up. And to accompany her is Agatha Walia. Agatha Walia. Let's give her a round of applause as well. Welcome. Please. So, yes, let's please take our seats. Oh, and Professor. Oh, okay. I'm glad that was said off mic. But let's give a round of applause to Professor Mutale as well, as he joins us. Agatha. So then, we're going to, like I said, look at the early years of the professor. Not necessarily from birth, but a little while after his birth. His school life, primary and secondary school. So I'll start with you, Kusuwila, if you allow me. So many people see the professor today, the polished man in a suit, and quite often in the white coat. But you knew him as a little boy, covered in red dust. Wombua, as we say in Zambia. Wombua in red dust from Luanshya. And you happened to obviously see him many times walking to school, taking 2 hours one way to school, 2 hours back home. And interesting fact, quite often without any shoes on his feet as he goes to school. So what was it about, what you saw at that time, that spirit in him, in that little boy, that made you realize even that early on that he wasn't just walking to a classroom, but he was walking towards a future that would change, in fact, change the whole country, as it were.
Right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Wilbrod is not just a friend, he's my brother. And like you rightly put it, I was actually joking outside with him that the three of us sitting here actually shouldn't even be here. But for the grace of God, we came from a small town called Luanshya. Not much happens there. It's a mining town, but not much happens. But like us, he was someone who was driven, someone who was focused from an early age and very, very hardworking. And what stands out is that it didn't matter where he came from, he knew where he was going. And I think for me, that is the thread that runs through, even now when we become people in society, that I still see. And I'm not surprised that we're sitting here today celebrating yet another milestone of a book, because we kind of saw it, that his beginning wasn't the end. He was going to go very far. And I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah. One may ask, though, in a little child, how do you identify that purpose? How do you see that this child is going to go far, that there's a path that he's walking?
Oh, that was easy. The three of us, very, very competitive. We were, I think, the creme de la creme of our schools.
If you can say so
and
yourself.
He went to a boys' school, we went to a girls' school.
Okay.
And we all strove to be the best.
Right.
And true and behold, at our school, we were the two that were picked to go to university. He was as well. So you know who your competitor is.
Right.
The way they say, it takes a thief to know a thief. So basically, it's the same adage. You know that, this time I've scored this much. How much has Wilbrod scored?
Yeah.
You know that. You want to beat each other.
Right.
So you know who's coming along and who's giving you a good run for your money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. Coming to you, Agatha. We have been told that the professor's mother called him Muvanga. Now, that's quite a common name in Zambia, but it has a very deep meaning. And the Muvanga, that's the name of a hardwood tree that can break even an axe. So during his senior school years, we've heard, of course, from Kusuwila about earlier, especially in the primary time, but during his senior school years, when the pressures of life began to weigh on him and on all of you, I suppose, can you share a specific story of a time when he showed that mubanganess, if I can use that word, the unbreakable resilience that his mother saw in him?
Oh, Paddy, thank you so much for this question. But Professor, really, definitely, from his early childhood, you could see a lot in this man. You could see the resilience in him. For me, as a friend, a brother to me, I would describe him as a very rare diamond. I would speak as a testament to the environment in which we grew up in. Like my friend earlier said, it wasn't easy. Some of you've heard of a Black Mountain. Professor here, those are the places he used to navigate. From his home place to get to his school, he had to go through the rivers. He had to go through the so-called Black Mountains on foot. Wow. On a daily basis. Very committed. When he gets to school, it wasn't an infrastructure where Ron Antelope Secondary School was like, it's a good school. The infrastructure was not there. If you find a chair, then you're lucky. In terms of the resources, the materials, they were not there. But he had to find a way, to navigate through all those challenges. And for us, we, like my colleague said, we identified ourselves and we used to study as a group. Like I remember a number of times would sit down under my mother's mango tree, would take umunkoyo and groundnuts, would study there, and knowing Professor, he would challenge you and push you to the limit. I remember those times. But with him, he even went on to challenge the school. He participated in every debate. Professor likes talking.
Oh, yes. That's an understatement, but yes.
In debate, not just at the Luanshya district level, but at the Copperbelt level, at the national. He was our champion, basically. And he wasn't just strong with communication skills. He was equally strong with sciences. He would be among the top, those jets issues. And of course, the school recognized him and rewarded him. He was a head boy. I can go on and on and on. Thank you.
Wow. I think let's give a round of applause indeed for Professor. Professor, now that you are here, we're hearing a lot of details about that period of your life. You're walking to school, crossing Black Mountains and everything, drinking munkoyo, which I hope was unfermented, by the way. It was non-alcoholic, yes?
Alcoholic.
You can say it now, otherwise you'd have gotten in trouble then. But maybe one question that I would like to ask you at this point. Luanshya is a mining town, and we've heard about the Black Mountain. Of course, one of the Black Mountain, these are sludge, whatever, yeah, that comes from the mining, the entire mining process. How come you were not moved to pursue mining
Okay.
in those early years?
Yeah, so I think the medicine thing came when I was in grade 7, so I didn't even think about becoming a miner or something. We were, some of our relatives were miners, and some of our friends were coming from mining for homes, but like Ronantrop Secondary School was sitting just where the smelter for mining was.
Right.
We didn't think, but one doctor that really encouraged us when we were hearing was this guy called Dr. Adams. So Dr. Adams was an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
So when the miners broke their legs, and they were like in Luanshya, Ronantrop Hospital there, when Dr. Adams would come, all of them would start walking. It's like Jesus has come. We would fix all the miners. So we really wanted to become like Dr. Adams.
Oh,
but
wow.
I am not an orthopedic surgeon, but that's where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So we just ignored the mines. No, it wasn't so interesting. But these friends gave me a run for their money. I'm so proud. We've come from very far.
Yeah.
And when we meet at Unza here, no one drove us to Unza. We came on minibuses and buses. And our children are being driven. I just look at these as sport. We came on, no parent.
You would know.
Thank you guys for being on our side.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Another round of applause indeed for the three. And I think apart from everything else we're celebrating today, this in itself is something worth celebrating and applauding you for. This friendship that is maintained from way back then over the years and even growing stronger with time. I think this is not very common. It's rare and it's precious, and would like to applaud all three of you that you've held hands through school, through university, even through your careers, and that you continue to do that even till today. So congratulations to you and well done, well done. So another round of applause for them. Oh yes, so that was Agatha, and please, thank you very much. So that was Agatha Bwalia, Kusuwira Nachalwembao, and of course the professor himself, Professor Mutare, talking about those first years, those early years of his childhood. Thank you very much. And speaking of early years and gifts and destiny and purpose, we would like to celebrate that as well today. Of course, the professor is way past that stage, really. But there is a young man in our audience tonight who has also seemingly made his mind up, at least on one thing that he wants to do in his life, and that is to share his gift. He has a special gift that many of us, I'm sure, admire when we see it being demonstrated in others. And so, I'd like for us, ladies and gentlemen, to put our hands together for the saxophone kid. Let's give him a big hand. Come and show us what the Lord has blessed you with. Let's give him another round of applause, shall we?
so much. So before this gentleman goes away, just a small story. So I liked to play guitar when I was very young, I think grade 3 or grade 4. But guess what my parents did? They broke my guitar. And they said that you have to stop playing these things. And I stopped playing guitar. And when they discovered is when I made my first album. And they said, you are still playing this thing. So I think parents, you can become both. So I'll show you, later on we'll sing some songs. It's possible to have a talent like this young man. Let's not discourage them. Let's just support them. Thank you so much for coming.
What's your name, young man?
My name is Kusechela Mbao. I'm 12 years old. I was born on 18th October 2013. When my parents first started telling me that I should find a profession and I love to do something, so last year they bought me this saxophone and I've been taking lessons. I have a teacher and I'm now in the school orchestra, and it's just very exciting to be here and to take this wonderful journey.
Isn't he just special? Isn't he special? So, when you grow up, do you want to be just a saxophonist, or is there something else that you want to pursue?
Other than just a saxophonist, I'm also a golfer and a goalkeeper. Yeah.
Well, all of those will bring you a lot of money, young man. And when you get there, remember this day that you stood here with me, yeah? I'm your friend. Hey. Let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Mbao. The young Kenny G. Oh, yeah. I know we have probably missed the deadline for this year's Valentine's, but for next year, we can start taking bookings even now. He will add something special to those celebrations. All right, now we have spoken some details about Professor Mutale, and I want to find out if you are paying attention. I have a question, and I want you to tell me whether this is fact or if it's fiction. So then, and the winner of this particular segment will get a free ticket to the mentorship conference with Professor Mutale. When will the conference be, Professor? August this year. So the mentorship conference with Professor Mutale in August this year. So then here is the question. Fact or fiction? Professor Wilbrod Mutale was once the head boy of his school, but he had to command the morning school assembly wearing damaged shoes, because those are the only shoes that he had. Is that fact or is it fiction? Fact or fiction? Yes, at the back. Fact. I hope you are not family, because close family members are disqualified from this. You are not? Huh? Don't deny your bululus. Huh? Okay, that is indeed a fact. And please just let us know. Let's give her a hand. Let us know your name so that we can register. You'll probably be the first one to be registered for that mentorship conference this year. So it is a fact. In the year 1993, Professor, well, he wasn't professor then, Wilbrod Mutale led the assembly wearing damaged shoes. He didn't complain. He just went on to sell groundnuts to raise money for his own shoes. You've been through a lot, Professor, eh? Oh my goodness. So let's give a round of applause indeed to the professor. So we heard from young Kenny G, Mr. Mbao, but we also know that the professor himself is a singer, he's a musician, guitarist whose dream to play guitar was almost shattered by those that took care of him. But there is a song that we'd like to share. We'll probably share it in just a little bit, from Professor's album. I think it's his most recent album, just to appreciate, apart from his academic journey, his musical career how far it has led him, and where we are today. But now I'd like to go into a different discussion. And this one is entitled The Moral Compass, Christian Faith Talk. And this one I would like to invite to come on behalf of Pastor Conrad Mbewe, Mrs. Mbewe. And she, of course, is the husband of Pastor Mbewe from, is that Kawata Baptist Church? Yes? So let's give Mrs. Mbewe a big hand as she comes up. So, Mrs. Mbewe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And indeed, you are the wife of Pastor Mbewe from the Kawata Baptist Church, and I think we're all familiar with Pastor, and we are edified by his sermons, his sharings, his deep, rich knowledge of Scripture and how he shares it with all of us. So, thank you. Please receive these thanks on his behalf.
Thank you.
So now we're talking about the man who's seated next to you, Professor Mutale. It is one thing to be a good doctor, yeah, but it is another thing to be a man of God in a world that often values money and power over honesty. Now the professor says his success is a gift of God that he must look after, that he must be a steward of. Not just a title to show off. Now, in your years of knowing him, I don't know how many years this is, you'll probably give us that detail, but in the years that you have known him, how have you seen him use his faith as an anchor to keep his heart steady when the pressures of leadership become heavy?
It's quite full. I don't even know where to start from, but Dr. Mbewe wrote something about the question that you have, and a little more detail concerning his Christian life,
Right.
His gifts, his concern for the people, the young people below him, and also the community. So maybe if I read that, it will be more comprehensive, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Word for word.
Verbatim.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to speak about Professor Wilbrod Mutale from the angle of his Christian faith, because he has been a member of Kawata Baptist Church since his undergraduate days. We have witnessed firsthand his growth as a Christian and his service for God in the church and in society. We saw him not only climb the educational ladder, but also his career path. We have seen him become a husband to Annie Tora and a father to the 2 children. Professor Mutale's faith has never simply been a Sunday affair. It has permeated all areas of his life. When faced with leadership pressures and trials in life, he has often quoted scripture, reminding himself and others that his strength comes from God. He is a man of prayer, regularly seeking guidance and wisdom. If you know him, you will know that he almost always has a disarming smile. There is no doubt that it is a fruit of his faith in a God who is his Father and who is in sovereign control of all things. We have seen him prioritize the good of others over personal gain, choosing to do what will benefit others even when it's difficult. His humility and compassion have inspired countless others who are disadvantaged. He has invested in people, mentoring many, and using his platform to uplift others. We have witnessed this especially in his efforts with the Old MacDonald Children's Home, where orphaned boys are kept and mentored. Professor Mutale made this his personal project, investing countless hours in the lives of the boys who are there. He even trained them into a choir. Speaking about his musical talent, he has encouraged many through this gift. Together with our church choir, he composed and sang songs that have continued to be heard by many over the years. Professor Mutale's example shows that faith isn't just a private matter. It is a powerful force that should encourage us and shape our actions and decisions. His songs demonstrate that with God's guidance, we can navigate life's pressures with wisdom, kindness, and humility. It is our prayer as his church leaders that his example will inspire many to see that with God, the sky is the limit. We also pray that God will keep his servant as he looks into the future, so that he remains in true servant leader. We are grateful to have known him over all these years. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, I know that's a statement from the pastor.
Yes.
Do you have an appendix to add to that?
Yes.
Just of your own.
Yeah, so I've known Professor Mutale since he was a young man, when he came to School of Medicine at Ridgeway campus. So to me, he's a son. We are very close, so each time we meet, we talk about everything and anything, the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly. So it's good to see that he's been consistent in his profession of faith, and that even when he's been busy, he will find time to come to church, and also has integrated very, very well in the church, such that you can relate to him, you can reach out to the community together, knowing that at the end of the day, we need to live out the Christian life and also to share the good news of our Savior, who came to save us from sin so that we can have a living relationship with God. So this has been the driving force. So it's good to celebrate career growth, spiritual growth,
Right.
and also impact in the community.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I think a round of applause would be appropriate at this time. Yes. Professor Mutale, they have said you have been a member of Kabata Baptist Church from your undergraduate years. Do you remember the exact year?
1997.
1997.
29 years now.
19 now. I'm not going to ask where some of us were in 1997, just to save you from. But since then, throughout your school years, and they have been long, undergrad, postgrad, and everything else that you have had after that, and even now, as you now began to perform your career, to work professionally, what is there maybe one or two specific instances that you can remember that you were seen through only because of your faith in God, where he stepped in a remarkable, in a miraculous way even, and just generally how you have relied on your faith to stay steady, to stay strong in your career and school?
Yes, so friends who are here, so as we talk about these segments, windows of my life, those are chapters in the book. So you can go and validate when you get your book, your copy about our Christian faith as well, because we wanted to document that. And then you can also ask me like you asked. So I've not included everything. So I think one example is that I lost my mom when I was in grade 11. So it was very hard, very, very hard, and I was a very bitter boy. But I think through faith, somehow, that pain made me realize that, okay, if I've lost mom, then it's not possible for me to be hurt again, like I've done the West.
Right.
So I have now depended on God and on Christian friends. Mrs. Mbewe has mentioned, these are my parents now,
Right.
Pastor Mbewe. And I tell them what the issues are. And then the medical school, I think for you who have passed through, you know, it's a miracle not to fail any course from first year into seventh year. It's always some casualty. One, in fact, we were afraid of when you go at natural science, there's a physics department. It's on the 3rd floor where they were putting results, if you have passed or not. So there were like 4 courses. So as you are looking at your there were no names, just computer numbers. If you read your computer number and there's maybe 1 course missing, it means that you can't become a doctor. So we were praying and fasting, brethren. So I think we didn't fail any course, and I think we went through medical school very smoothly, and that we attribute to God. And then because they treated us very hard, so we didn't know whether we are intelligent or not, if they are lecturers there. So I only proved later on when I was doing my PhD that I'm this good, because everyone was looking down like we are very down. So I think God preserved our knowledge, and I think globally now we can show that we are actually gifted. So and sometimes they give you very bad grades in medical school, and you can't get into a master's because people will be referring to these bad grades when you are good.
Right.
And again, God preserved us all through those. We got good grades and went on to do PhDs and postdocs, and we thank God. All that can't come from just a human being.
Yeah.
Somebody was, we are sharing on the shoulders of the Almighty God. Thank
Amen. Amen. And God's children said, Amen. Amen. So maybe before I let you go, Professor, for this segment, I know you will come back, but what would your word of advice be to anybody here, either going through school or going through their professional careers, and they struggle with their faith, the challenges of their job? Sometimes perhaps they're under pressure to do the wrong thing or to just give up altogether. As one who has gone through that and come out flying, come out shining, what would your word of advice be?
It's really unfortunate that life does not give you a window to see what you can be. So sometimes when you don't have, for example, meal today, you can go and steal so that you are imprisoned over just maybe 1 bag of meal, and then all the professor you are supposed to become, you can't see it.
Right.
So that's my advice to people. So in fact, I say that it's better to suffer today. Like, I don't worry to be like hungry today. I'm worried about hunger for tomorrow. So I'm happy to sleep without food today so that my tomorrow I have food. So let's stop thinking about like today, thinking what do you need to become tomorrow. So it means you want to do something wrong. Will that affect your tomorrow? Then it's not supposed to be done. And the spiritual things we are talking about here are not just like reading the Bible. It's the Bible changes you, Christianity changes you, which means your lens about happy, what makes people joyous, even money. Because I've seen, especially for young men, everyone wants to drive a big car, they want to have a lot of money. But I've seen that if God gives money to this guy, he's not going to survive. So it's good that he keeps you poor, so that we preserve you. Then later on, when you are mature, things can come. So perhaps things are delaying because you are just not mature, and your Christianity is a starting point. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Let's give a big round of applause to Professor Mutale and Mrs. Mbewe. Thank you very much, ma'am. So, the big picture. Never lose focus of the big picture. Thank you, Professor. Thank you as well, Mrs. Mbewe, for So I said earlier on that we were going to listen to a song from the Professor's album. That will come after this small segment. Now, this is another question, a little different from the first one. For this one, I want us to guess the year. So we're going to show you a picture. Here it is on the screen. All right? Again, the one who gets the answer correct you win yourself a ticket to the mentorship conference in August with Professor Wilbrod Mutale. As we can see here, with all those reagents and corrosive chemicals around him, and he's being very careful not to cause any catastrophe in the lab. Who can guess which year this was? Just put up your hand, I will point at you. I saw that hand first. Yes, the first guess is 1996. Was someone going to say something else? You're going to say something else? The same answer. Any other question? Any other answer? Any other answer? Yes? 1997. Professor, this is you, yes? This is you. You won't say the year. Well, there have been two answers, two suggestions as to what year this was. There's 1996 and 1997. The one who gets it right comes to your conference, the mentorship conference in August. So who is coming? 1996, congratulations, congratulations. I'm going. Yeah, will you make it for Nchwala tomorrow, I wonder? If you start off now, you just might, you know. They will miss you there, that's for sure. But yes, August, you have a ticket to the mentorship conference with Professor Mutale. Now, there's a song that I would like to play now. I hope it's ready. This is from the Professor's album. And Professor, what is the title of this song? Maybe let's play it and then have people guess what the title is, yes? That would be another ticket to the mentorship conference. So, like I said, the professor and I, in our earlier interaction, in our earlier meetings, I knew him as a musician, and he shared some music with me, which I played on Radio Phoenix. And did you come for an interview on radio? We did. On a Sunday morning, yes, you did come. Yes, I interviewed him on the gospel show on Radio Phoenix, and yeah, we've come a long way together as well. I think I also deserve a ticket. Yeah. But yeah, I hope that song is ready now. Let's play it, and indeed appreciate.
Don't you hear the voice calling? You walk salvation given for free. Don't you know Jesus has died? You don't need to die. Won't you hear the voice calling? You're walking away. Oh, walking away. You're walking away. Refusing salvation given for free. Don't you know Jesus has died? You don't need to die. Won't you hear the voice calling? You're walking away. Savior is calling, harden not your heart. The day of salvation is today. Christ has come to give you salvation. Open your heart. Savior is calling, harden not your heart. The day of salvation is today. Christ has come to give you salvation. Open your heart.
Thank you, Professor, for sharing this other gift. This reminds me of the story of the master and his 3 servants. Yes, I don't know. Do you know how many gifts the master has given you? You're not sure, but you're multiplying them, I hope. And I think it's quite clear that indeed when he comes, he will say to you, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in the little things." Yeah, and he will give you more. And take from those among us who have buried our talents. I don't know who you are, but you know yourselves. That time to be taken from you and given to the professor. So it is for you to do your best now to begin to work on it, invest in it, multiply it, so the master will be happy with you as well when he comes, as he will be with the professor. So then, we're moving on now to the chapters that came later on in the professor's life. The global scholar. And we're talking about his academia and his research work. And for this, I would like to introduce 3 celebrated scholars as well. They're celebrated, indeed, academia. We have Dr. Oliver Mwemba. Let's welcome Dr. Oliver Mwemba as he comes. And as he is coming, let me also introduce and invite Professor Peter Hangoma. And then we have Dr. Michael Hurst. Please come, please come. Professor, are you joining us as well? Michael, maybe you can come here. Okay. Yeah, we have a panel of distinguished. I think that's for the professor. We all have microphones, yes? Okay. So now we're talking about Professor. Ubrot Muvanga Mutale, as a world-class researcher. So we have doctors, we have a professor. The professor here has reached the highest levels of research, and he's respected by people in Europe, and of course here in Zambia, and across the world. But he didn't just stay in the ivory tower. He brought that knowledge, that expertise back home to fix the health systems here in Zambia. Now, how has his ability to bridge the world of deep research with the real-life needs of the Zambian patient changed the way we look at healthcare today? I don't know if we'll start with Dr. Mwemba or Professor Hangoma. I don't know who will take up that question first. Doctor.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Good to see you. Good to see you, Peter. Yeah, so maybe before I answer that, I can just give one or two sentences to give context. So I studied with Professor Mtale at University of Bergen when we were doing masters. So
University
of Bergen in Norway.
Okay.
So we went actually.
You have to say that slowly so that we catch it.
So Bergen.
Yeah.
So it's on the southwest of Norway.
Okay.
So we were both actually staff development fellows. So staff development fellows are people who are usually more or less identified by the university as having a potential skill that can be developed. So then when time allows, they actually send you for further studies. So we went, and I do more of social behavioral science, applied social behavioral science in public health and health promotion, health care. So he went as a medical doctor. So we actually spent some very interesting 2 years there. One of the things we used to would cook together and all that, but we used to argue a lot. We used to argue a lot, mostly on things that we have learned in class. So whether HIV, malaria, and all that. And later on, that's when we actually realized we were looking at things from different perspectives. And that's when we actually realized there's a way we can actually build each other. And that spark eventually became fire, and that's how we have been working together. So I've worked with him on a number of NIH-funded projects which have brought funds, of course, not only to the university but to partners, together with Dr. Michael Hess here and many others. So now, within those collaborations, a lot has been done to actually impact on the health system, but I'm going to actually really maybe mention one at this moment so that other people can add. So one big one I can actually point is making NCDs become more visible. So I think for a long time, most of the funding in our context, even from the national budget, has been doing more. HIV got a bigger share and a lot of infectious diseases. But basically his research and most of the research we have actually done with partners have really more or less pushed the boundaries beyond by actually really bringing NCDs on focus. Yeah, non-communicable.
I know for you, this language is every day. NCDs, of course, are non-communicable diseases.
Non-communicable diseases.
Right.
So diabetes, hypertension, and others. So, and I think to take it further, it was also the recognition that actually there is no way that it can actually be looked at in isolation, but also in combination and integration. I think Michael may talk about that, so I don't want to actually go into that point. But I think that's the major. If you look at, from the time we started this, he actually led one of the big studies, the STEPS survey, that actually brought data and about risk factors and the NCDs. That actually really brought evidence, and it's something that was hosted by the ministry. So that is one of the big contribution to actually make it visible. But there have been also other. We started with an R21 at some point, and I remember he was working on this grant, and he kept on saying, I need your CV, I need your CV. And one time he just literally followed me to my office and said, can you put your CV in here? Before we knew it, we had a grant. So that's when we actually really did more extra work, which has been published. So I think if you look at the landscape of NCDs, non-communicable diseases, in the past years, it has been very visible and it has got more attention from the powers that be, the decision makers, as part of the integrated healthcare services. Yeah, I can stop there.
Okay. Professor Ango.
Okay. I think Oliver has really hit the nail on the head. I think Wilbrod's life has been very transformative. You know, sometimes I look at myself, and I think sometimes he looks at me and says, Peter, you've achieved a lot as a young man. And when I look at him, I'm thinking, okay, yes, he's older than me, but I don't think I'll achieve what he has achieved. Because I think his achievements have been bigger than life, in my opinion. If you look at the diabetes, integrating, there's a lot of HIV in Zambia, but integrating HIV, diabetes, and, a lot of times there were so many people who were dying of high blood pressure without knowing,
right,
because they look slender. But bringing that discussion forward to say, really, we have to bring this discussion, integrate this discussion of HIV and non-communicable diseases and all that. But I think the biggest thing has also been the mentorship of young people. As we speak right now, Wilbrod is leading one of the biggest mentorship grants in Zambia, so that more young people can become like true researchers to change the health landscape. There's just a workshop that has finished in Siavonga, and Wilbrod is really the architect of that. So it's really interesting. There's so much that I can say, but maybe let me end that. Because at one time, Wilbrod was like, at one time, the grant that supported him to do his PhD, that's what supported me. But at one time, he felt a little bit jealous. He was like, Peter, why is it that for you, you've been paid more money to do this PhD, but I've been paid less? He asked that question, but I can tell you that with those people that supported us, I have a very loose link with those. He has grown that link, and now he's the adjunct professor at Vanderbilt University.
You see now.
So at first, it was like, and from nowhere now he's like the big guy in the whole system. So, which is really interesting.
Wonderful. Now, getting to you, Dr. Hurst. I would like your comment as well on that earlier question, but also talking about international collaborations, especially in the medical field, and how they can sometimes be purely transactional. From your experience working alongside Professor Mutale, what makes his approach to global partnerships so different? And how has he managed to build such deep, lasting trust across borders, across continents?
Thanks. So I'm going to speak from the heart about sort of my work with Prof. Mutale. So I first met Prof. I had joined the Center for Infectious Disease Research in Zambia, and I was a clinical scientist. It was 2014, and we have like a weekly research meeting, and we had a visiting presenter who was coming from the London School of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, who was presenting their dissertation work on health systems. And this young guy gets up, and he just had like this charisma, and he captivated the room. And he had been able to do some really thoughtful work about moving the health system towards comprehensive primary care in the most rural, impoverished settings in Zambia. And it was a tour de force, kind of thinking through how to re-engineer the health system to be more equitable, how to reach rural and underserved populations, how to provide primary health care services. And he gave this talk over 1 hour. And I was captivated by this guy. And I had this sense, even though he wasn't working at Siders, I'm like, something was telling me that I'm going to work with that man somewhere down the road. And that came true. It was like a premonition. I think Wilbrod and I kind of work well together. I feel like he's like a brother from another mother. And
we can see the resemblance, actually.
Yeah, it's very striking. We have very similar hairlines. But So we have a couple things in common. Like one is we both have an unrelenting faith in God, and I think in each other and the power of the collective. And so I'm the son of a priest and a nun, and I always have this undying optimism. And really, the only colleagues I've ever met that have that same optimism is Will Broad. Even when we are facing just incredibly difficult challenges, he has a positivity. And it reminds me of a quote from one of my mentors who said that, the joy in this work is doing difficult things with friends. These guys are all my friends and collaborators, but I think Will Broad and I are willing to kind of fight the long defeat. We're willing to take the risk and do the right thing even though it's hard. Right. Then the last thing that I really relate to with Will Broad as an American is I lived in near Licks in Kalundu for a number of years. My next door neighbor was the head of the French school, and he gives this experience of leaving France and coming to the United States. And he had gone to other parts of the world. He'd gone to Canada, and he was trying to do his PhD, and they wouldn't let him have a visa because the university didn't want to sponsor him. But he ended up at MIT, a famous university in Boston. And there was a mentor there. And the mentor sort of worked to get him an educational visa, had him sort of sneak into the Canadian border and then come back into the United States to get a visa. And so this headmaster turns to me, he's like, Michael, do you know why I love Americans? And I was like, no, I didn't think the French loved Americans. He's like, I love Americans because you see over the wall. You can see what's not there. Will Broad, you always see over the wall. You always see what's not there. And you have an imagination that's inspiring. And so I thank you for being my brother and for helping me sort of see over the wall and being able to imagine with you together.
Wow. Professor Mutale, you see over the wall.
I like that.
We're not talking about the wall in the south of America, are we now? No, not the Mexico wall. But, Professor, and of course we've had discussions earlier this evening about your faith and your walk, your interaction with different people. But it is quite common, and I'm sure you'll agree, when people, and again, it's not everybody, but there's a lot of people who, when they achieve certain heights, certain status, they want to protect, like this is what I have achieved. And I mean, we see it so many times. Sometimes we call it the pull me down syndrome, and you want to enjoy the limelight all by yourself. But clearly you seem to enjoy, you seem to thrive with working with others, pulling them up and sharing this glory, as it were. What does it mean to you to collaborate with people here in Zambia, fellow Zambians, and those across in other continents of the world?
Yes, a very good question. So I would say that because I've seen so many people in my career, people who are very happy to see other people fail, people who are very happy to see other people fired. I wanted to be the opposite. Another thing that I saw in the house was that people were not willing, even when they get paid on the month, and they were not declaring that now we have got money. When they don't have money, they will say, we don't have money. But when they get paid, I wanted to hear that now we have got money. But I didn't hear all such. So I wanted to be different. So for the meanness that I saw where people are denying people food, I wanted to give food. So most of the students, like the doctors, when you are young interns, I wanted to be that doctor that can carry the students for lunch. I never had doctors, actually my seniors, take me for lunch. But for me, I said, once I became a doctor, I would take over lunch, I take my people. The same fellows that I'm teaching students, I sit down. I remember, I think 2 years ago, I bought computers because I came to teach an undergrad class. And they were on their phones like, you don't have computers? No, we don't have computers. I said, no. So I told my team, can we buy computers for everyone here? because I wanted them to learn, but also just I was imagining where they're coming from, and I could imagine it was me. So if I can have a lecturer that can buy a computer, I wanted to be that lecturer. So I've always wanted to make impact, even when I see patients. I don't want patients to see the doctor and forget that they met me. So if there's any of my patients here, if they encountered me, they should not forget that they met me. For the students, if you sit in my class, my goal is that you should never doze. If you doze in my class, I can pay you money. That you were dozing when I'm teaching. I want to pay you. Yeah. So that's my goal. And then I want not to do things for because I live like, because God has not assured that people are going to be there tomorrow. I don't know this advance. No, tomorrow we shall do this. I think even the Bible talks about this. So I live like today is my last day. So what do I want people to remember me for? I think for the good things. So I want a legacy for the young people to help them. And then there are a lot of intelligent Zambians, young men and women, very intelligent. The problem is that they are all looking for jobs, applying for jobs. And what I've told Peter and my friends, that when you see an intelligent man or woman, send them to me. Even if we have to share my salary. Many of you have shared with you my salary without you knowing. I get paid from the University of Zambia. I pay you the money because I think that we can find money in the future. Then I'll get the money from there. So my salary is free for the shares, by the way. As long as you are intelligent, I see that you can contribute, we create a partnerships. And then working with these guys, Peter, yes. Working with Peter, Oliver, and Michael Hethe, we just can't stop imagining. Like whenever we meet, like there's some kind of fire, and they make me actually, like it's like very mutual to keep aspiring and growing. The Americans are very special. My PhD was with the British. Are there British people here? No. So I want to tell you that they are very good people there who taught me to be but they were my supervisors. They were not my mentors. But when I went to America, I learned something about mentorship. It's not so much about you. Each professor has got young people that they are growing. They have got an admin team. I've adopted this style, and I think at the University of Zambia, I'm proud to say I've supervised over 20 PhDs, and I've got over 10 postdoctoral faculties. I think there are many of them who are professors now that we have mentored. We are still generating more and more people, even in the private sector. So we thank God for that opportunity. It's because we are collaborating.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, sir.
And we thank God for you. We thank God for you, Professor. Thank you. And I'm sure for some of the people in here, out of everything that you said, they'll remember that you are sharing your salary with and they're waiting to get your number after this. But let's put our hands together for Professor Mutale and the panelists. Thank you so very much, Dr. Oliver Mwemba, Professor Peter Hangoma, and Dr. Michael Hurst. A big round of applause for them. Wow. So, as the professor said earlier, all these issues that we're discussing in these panels, in these segments, are contained in the book. And the book is entitled, do you remember the title of the book is? What's the title of the book? What's the title of the book? Bridging Worlds. And the book is available today. If you want to get yourselves a copy, we have some. If you want to order, I'm sure we have a QR code on every table. Yeah, we have a QR code on every table. Just scan that QR code and you will go through all those processes to finally acquire a copy for yourself. It's only 300 kwacha. And I mean, from these stories that you have heard. And Mr. Sonny Zulu, let's give a round of applause.
Sonny was my classmate at first year. So I'm a bit short, and that has been the case for a long time. So he's a very important man in Zambia, changing the economics. Everyone is talking, Sonny Zulu, but me, I know him as, in fact, I keep making, is Sonny. So I keep making this mistake, and he keeps correcting me. But Sonny, you know me from very far. We sang in the choir, bro. Yeah. And I remember when you were saying that we were trying to preach to sinners with me in the chapels there. Then you say, I don't know why people are so excited about football. My father, when he sees a goal, he's jumping over, but he can't stand to thank God and dance. That's what I remember about you. Just a quick comment about how we've grown up together, and you can leave.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Prof. And you know, when you have grown up with somebody, you're playing together, you always have to remind yourself, okay, Prof. Otherwise, you're like, who brought? It's such a pleasure. And what you have done, it's amazing. And for me, it's an encouragement. I know that a lot of people in here, you have had your own journeys, your own achievements, and everybody has got their own path. But if there's somebody out there that is still thinking like, will I make it? Will I make it? You can. There's nothing that is so hard. There's nothing that is so difficult. There's nothing that is impossible. When we were together at campus, I can tell you that if somebody came through to look at us, we were just like ordinary students. And nobody could actually tell that this is the path that we are going to take and this is where we would be today. Nobody would have known that he was going to be a prof. And those pictures, that we have seen, they actually represent exactly where we are coming from, because we are struggling together. The Cambis, just to go and find money, the monk sauce, we were buying the same monk sauce, and you come to the end of the month, you don't have money, and sometimes if somebody was to tell us at that time to say this is where we're going to be, I'm sure that it was looking like impossible. So the reason why I'm sharing this is just to encourage somebody out there. Everyone can be able to make it. Not everyone will, but everyone can. Everyone has an opportunity. And if you just distinguish yourself and say, I'm not going to do everything like everyone else, I am going to go that path. It may be a lonely path, but you keep on pushing and you keep on pushing. This man, I have heard today that they used to argue a lot. The one thing that I've liked about him, that I've learned about him, he has his own mind. He has his own mind. And when he believes in something, he believes in it. And sometimes, yes, you might be successful to change his mind, but you have to work very hard to convince him. Because he's so determined. But for me, that stubbornness is what has caused him to push the boundaries and to get to where he is today. So don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to be alone. Even if the whole world is going this way, if you believe in something, keep on pressing for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So that was a special surprise feature in our program today, Mr. Sunny Zulu. Thank you so very much for indeed that insight into Professor Mutale. We're giving away the third and final ticket for the mentorship conference, which will be hosted by Professor Wilbrod Mutale. And this one is a question. It's also a question. So again, we want you to tell us. I think the two tickets so far have gone to this side of the audience. Now let's see if, the guests on this side can win a ticket as well. So, fact or fiction? Before becoming a globally recognized researcher, Professor Mutale's very first real business was running a tiny barber shop in Soweto Market. So, like I said, we want also to give chance to this side. Professor Mutale ran a barber shop in Soweto Market. If that is fact or fiction, or if you want to correct a detail in that statement to make it a fact, please raise your hand. Okay, how come the people from this side... but Mrs. Imbewe, no. Mrs. Imbewe, you have too much leakage. The professor's like, no. It would be unfair, surely. As the mother, you know everything. Professor Mutale, of course, before he was professor, did he run a business? Was it a barber shop? Was it in Soweto Market? Yes. I saw your hand up. Yes. I can't hear. Just speak a little louder, please. It's fiction. Okay. So say it again. Yeah. Now let's hear you clearly.
I feel it's fiction because I think I remember he mentioned something about him selling groundnuts.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Not a barber shop.
So it was groundnuts he used to sell. Okay. So first answer says it's fiction. He actually used to sell groundnuts. Okay. Any other answer? Any other answer? So the question is, before becoming a globally recognized researcher, Professor Mutale's very first real business was running a tiny barber shop in Soweto Market. For the first submission, that says that is fiction, that is not true. Do we have somebody with another answer? Do you have someone with another answer? Okay, yes? The gentleman in front here, let's just give him the mic.
I would say it's a fact, but it wasn't his first, but he did do it.
So it's a fact, he did do a barber shop in
Soweto,
Soweto Market?
Yes,
but it wasn't his very first business.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fact, fiction. So one of these will win the ticket. Now we'll ask Mrs. Mbewe to give us the details and to declare who the winner is of this ticket. Mrs. Mbewe, I mean, you are going for the conference anyway, really, surely, but just give us the details.
It's a fact.
That's it, eh? That's all you need to say. It's a fact. So it is a fact because he used his university allowances. That's apart from, I'm sure this is after you bought the eggs and the bread and the pamela of midi meal. Whatever remained from the university allowances, he bought 2 machines and rented a small space, learning early lessons in business resilience. A barber shop in Soweto Market. I have been through a lot. Let's give a round of applause to Professor Mutale. So yes, he did sell groundnuts, but he also had a barber shop. So you, my good sir, are going for the conference. Yeah? Please, all those that have won tickets to the conference, be sure to see the professor so that he can register you and you don't miss out in August. We're going into another panel now, and this one is entitled The Builder, the Founder, and the Mentor. And remember, these are all chapters in the book that is available from today. I'm going to invite Mr. Chisupa to please come forward, and also Dr. Francis Simusika. Let's give Mr. Chisupa and Dr. Simusika a round of applause. So, all these attributes that we have heard, that have been shared about Professor Mutale. Now we're looking at his legacy as a founder who builds systems and his hands-on approach to mentoring the next generation. I would like to start with Dr. Francis Simusika. You are working with the professor in teledoctor. So, the professor has used technology to save lives in a new way. Now, when he's teaching you and the team, the teledoctor team, does he treat you like an employee, or does he treat you like a future leader that he's trying to build up to be better than himself?
Thank you very much for that question. I would describe Professor's approach to us as one that is of tough love. So, he's very demanding. If I don't say very demanding, my team will say, no, you didn't do service. So he's very demanding, but he's also quite challenging. And in the aspect of tough love is that at the end of it all, he will then bring it back to teach you what it is that he was trying to achieve. So he's very demanding, very challenging, and he brings the team together in that manner. Yeah.
So, how do you and the team? How do you, I know, dealing with people like him, I want to ask you to review the nicknames that you have given him in your team. I'm sure there are some.
What are you trying to do?
Don't worry, I'm saving your job, sir. Don't worry.
At this point, I think you're trying to get me fired.
Don't worry, we'll take care of you as Phoenix. But tell me how the team also has responded, and you know what they feel, apart from him being demanding, what they feel towards. What are the sentiments in the team? The positive sentiments. Yes. Let me be specific about his leadership style.
So again, I will say tough love. If all of us are being honest, our parents, being our parents, will not always be our best friends. So the onus will always fall upon ourselves to see what it is exactly within the toughness is this particular person trying to teach us.
Right.
So through the rough, he has, like I said, the approach of very demanding, very challenging, and for those who rise to the top, right, who rise to the challenge, he gives rewards without measure. So I think that's what we'll take away from that.
So you cry through the process, but thank him afterwards, yes?
No nicknames.
No nicknames.
I won't say those.
Mr. Chisupa, yes. When we talk about the Southern African Institute for Collaborative Research and Innovation Organization, or SAICRIO, the professor often speaks about Amakaya Wingi. Did I say it correctly?
Yes,
is the accent correct? Yes. Amakaya Wingi, the power of many. How does he show this in his daily leadership? The best way to win is to work together and to bring others up with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think Amakaya Wingi was also part of his album.
Yes,
I think it was one of, yeah. I think what I noticed, and it's also in the book there, is that setting up SAICRO required so many brains, so many minds.
Right.
Yeah, because it's not something that he could do alone as the visionary. He had the vision, but then he had to pick various experts. Some people even came from outside the country, gurus locally, and it really said a lot about his humility.
Right.
Because I think he could have done everything on his own, but he invited us, and we participated in the strategies, in the collaborations, in the setting up of partnerships. And I think something that came out strongly, which will also be reviewed in August, is the role of mentorship.
Right.
Yeah, I think SAICRO has created so many mentees who are out there, because I think the whole issue was trying to bridge the gap between academia and real life. Because I think one thing about Prof, he even wakes up, I think, at 0203. When he's got an idea, he'll write it down. So that's what it means, bringing all the thoughts together, all the brains, to sort of set up this institution, which was not only Zambian-based by the name, but it was broad beyond Southern Africa and Europe.
So I know you've given us one or two details about it, but just give us a little more insight as to what SAICRIO is all about.
Well, SAICRIO is the Southern African Institute for Collaborative Research, and we were involved in participating in so many programs and projects through the issuance of grants. I mean, we were participating in grants. So we would, and I think as SAICRIO, we were privileged to have one major grant which just ended, very huge, and I think we were covering some areas in western Lusaka. So basically, it's also helping those graduates from university, those who are pursuing their PhDs. I think some of them were even attached to SAICRIO to pursue part of their research practically, So we've actually developed future professors through this program.
Oh, wow, wonderful, yes. Wonderful. Professor Mutale, teledoctor, of course, I meet you every so often at Phoenix FM. Do you have it on any other station, or is it just Phoenix?
Diamond TV.
Diamond TV, so Phoenix and Diamond. Obviously, I'm I'm privy to some of the benefits. But for you, what joy has it brought to you? What satisfaction has it brought to you? Teledoctor and Psychrio, seeing this thing that you probably woke up at 02 to take note of, and then bring it.
So I want to comment on Francis' point, because I think I've got my nephews here. I think if you ask them, they'll say the same thing that Uncle Wilbur is a bit more tough and things. It's because I see poverty when I just say it. Just the way you are thinking, I see the problem, what you are going to have, not just now, even tomorrow and the future. So it's like almost like I have to treat you now. Okay. So I see a lot of our Zambian young people.
You can tell by looking.
Just by looking, I said, this one is going to have a big problem. So I have to make a program to discipline them to the level I want. And usually they won't know, but I've got a target. And then I only bring people that will be useful. So many of the people, I just reject them. So when I bring you to my circle and to mentor you, I have already judged that you have got potential. So you have to go through fire. And also, I think our bringing in Africa sometimes makes children like a little bit spoiled. And when I've gone throughout the world visiting, you can't survive with a spoiled child. Like, no, where is dad? Where is mom? You have to exist. So I've had to be a bit tougher. And those that succeed, I think they thank me in the end that this is good. Because even if they go globally, they will be accepted. They know how to put, even sometimes, muchinshi, sana. So sometimes I start arguments with my mentees. I want them to argue with me. Right. Because if you work with an American, Michael, they are so comfortable, they speak to you, so you're almost going to be overwhelmed. So you need to stand for what you know. And sometimes they can give you a bad deal, not because they want to give a bad deal, because you are not saying what you want. So how much you want to pay? You show me I want to follow. No. Stay with the people. 250,000, 2 million. So much. No, here. Where are you going to do the work from? No, from Africa. Friends, then the money 3/4 goes to Africa. Agreed? Yeah, that's where it's going. So you negotiate. At Pakwaka no bunga tabawanso ni mkwai. Okay, so that's how I think I've tried my people to learn to be tough, because the world is just so tough. So when I see, I just see that we are not there. So it's part of the training. That's mentorship. Yeah. And I hope that over time, I think most of the people that I've worked with, you can see they can speak their account. And I challenge people to the core, including my nephews. They are seated here. Like if you are not ready, I think you're almost going to run away, because I can see your future going down because of the way you are thinking is wrong. So we need to help that. All right? I wanted just to bring that. In terms of the joy, just answering your question. So I work for the University of Zambia. I've worked there almost 20 years, and the Ministry of Health, I joined them in 2003, 2004. So I've been around. Even if I don't work formally for the University for the ministry, I'm really an integral part. The ministers, the PS, they're all my colleagues, and we try to improve the health systems and also provide training. So at Psychrio, I want to tell you that I don't even get paid there. Psychrio, at least I get some money, but at Teledoctor, I don't get paid. I just think that the Zambian people deserve better services. So if you fall sick here, who are you going to call before you go? Who can you call? And that was a big gap. So we have set up a call center where you can call someone, and then they help you navigate. You don't have to know where the hospitals are. Just call that number. They help you. But also everyone has got a phone. I can imagine even now that you are looking. So your Teledoctor has brought that healthcare in the palms of your hand. So when the Zambians are dying of like ignorance, I'm shocked. Why didn't you take to Teledoctor? They are looking for me, but there's a doctor here. Then I come to Phoenix. I said, maybe when I talk on radio, they will listen. Right. Even there, I receive ignorant questions. So I think the work is not finished. Thank you very much.
You have done a lot, Professor, with those that you work with. But yes, there's still a lot more that needs to be done. But we salute you. We salute all these institutions, all these people you work with for the wonderful work that is being done. Let's give them a round of applause. And wish you all the very best as you continue to do the wonderful work in our communities. So now, in my other line of work, I'll say we are going to go on a commercial break for a message from our sponsors. We do have a slightly different segment right now. Let me call on Pastor Cornelius Ndlovu. Pastor Cornelius Ndlovu is going to come and share some information of a different kind of Pastor Ndlovu, are you here? Let's give the pastor a round of applause as he makes his way. So we have heard it mentioned more than once already this evening about Professor Wilbrod Mutale and his history, his connection, his love for music. And so now we're going to talk about that particular aspect of the professor, his music. And so Pastor Ndlovu, he has some details that you'd like to share with us about Professor Mutale and his musical journey. Over to you, Pastor.
Thank you so much. Professor Wilbrod Mutale was, I think before he became a professor, he was a brother. We met at Kawata Baptist Church. I sing in a group called the Golden Harps Voices. I think you know that group from Reformed Church in Zambia. I've been with that group from 1997. It's a male a cappella group, and so we used to go around churches singing in different places. And one of the churches we went to was Kawata Baptist. Now, when we reached there, when we reached there, there was one couple that noticed me and my group and approached me and said, we want to engage you to be a music director in our studio. And that is Mr. and Mrs. Monga. They had a studio called Emmausville Studios. And they said, we also want you to help our KBC choir with vocals. So we're a young couple then, my wife and I, she's right there. And we said, I think let us, though we belong to Reformed Church, let us work with these people. And so we started working. I know some little amounts which were given to us by the Mongas also were a motivation. And so we are doing the work of God, but also they appreciated our work. And that's where I met Professor Brother Wilbrod then. He was busy with KBC choir, and I liked his compositions. You know, the way he composed his songs and the messages in the songs. We did a cappella, and our songs were so detailed. You know, all the parts must be clear, and you know, the vocals must be, you know, on point. But when he came, he brought simplicity. He said, me, I don't want problems. And then me, let me just do my thing. So we worked together, and the first thing which the first song which he did was Walking Away. He did that song, we enjoyed it, we kept on singing in different platforms. But before we realized, before we went ahead with our ministry, you know, he decided to go overseas for further studies. Now, we looked at that song and him walking away from us. We said, was he prophesying? And even there where he was in Norway, he kept on doing music and sending his CDs here in Zambia. And I was one of those who were doing distribution and selling on his behalf. We continued doing music with the Golden Harps. He came back and we did Amaka Yabwingi. And so we enjoyed, and he did not just come as an individual, he came with another powerful voice, and that is Sister Anatura, who later became the wife. The other thing I remember Dr. With is his wedding day. I think he got married at Sunday's Creation. We did a song with him that was Love is Patient. Love is patience with all kindness. We kept on singing that song in different platforms. And the next thing we heard is that Dr. Wilbrod Mutale is now a professor. And today we are here now trying to launch his book with a new song which he is going to introduce himself when we bring our team to sing here in front. I think that's how I know Professor Wilbrod Mutale. Thank you.
And a big hand. Professor, I'm not going to ask you to say anything now.
No, yes.
We want you to sing.
Excellent. So you can greet your neighbor just for a second so we can just change a little bit and put the stands and move the thing here so that we can, yeah. And by the way, for the people who are not married, I composed my wedding song before I got married. That was Faith. Yeah. The one on the wedding day. I said it, wedding day. I composed it, and on my wedding, I sang it and we played it. So compose your own songs, but meantime, greet your neighbor.
If you want the professor to speak into your life tonight, he is here. He will prophesy, he will foretell. A lot of, as he has said already, he can tell by looking the issues that you're going through and the solutions to those issues. So, we're getting ready for him to come and sing. I think we need these chairs moved temporarily. And I believe there's a few more people who were supposed to come to join you for the song. Yes? Okay. Where are the others?
We have the Divine Family Melodies who are going to join us to sing some songs.
Let's put our hands together for the Divine Family Melodies as they come forward. And of course, we're waiting for the professor to come and join this team and sing that song with them. Please remember, the books are on sale. We have... And here comes the professor. So, please, order your books, use the QR code. More mics.
Thank you. Thank you. Which one? I need some. Okay. This one. Hello? We need some help. Which one? That one? Okay.
And two.
song coming will be quite high pitched. 1 second. Dr. Kawamba, please come. Okay, so the person joining us is my colleague, Dr. Kawamba. We work together at UTS, now he's at Lab, he's a pediatrician. So one thing about doctors that they are always in the hospital, but here is my colleague. He's got some background from Congo, but he's living in Zambia over the almost of his life. And so the song we are singing has got Bemba and also Lingala. He has done a verse there. So this is the song for the third album that we are producing. It's called Tuatota.
Thank you.
if when being attended by you, we ask, please just sing us a song, please. Just as a preamble to the diagnosis. Oh, wow. And I think it would give me a lot more comfort and confidence knowing that I'm being attended to by a doctor who is a Christian, who is a believer. And because I trust who you believe in, I will trust you. Absolutely. So keep doing what you do. And keep believing and holding on to God. Let Him continue leading you and guiding the works of your hands, literally, as you attend to the patients in whatever institutions that you are privileged to work in. Let's get back now to our program. And now we're going to have a book overview. We're calling this segment the Blueprint. So I'm going to invite the professor to come forward. Please, take a seat. Oh, you understand? Okay, fine.
I want to start. Hello, this thing. Okay. Good. I thought we should stand so that we can see you properly.
Okay.
Yes, let's move there.
So, Professor, welcome.
Thank you so much.
For the fourth or fifth time on the stage. But let's talk about the book now. You have spent 25 years plus building systems, saving lives. But in this book, you talk more about your scars than your awards. Why do you feel it was so important to tell the world about your failures? Like we learned earlier, the barber shop in Soweto Market. And how do these scars help you mentor the young professionals listening and watching you tonight?
Thank you, Paddy. So, two things there. For the success, if you succeed, it's not a problem. I think the problem comes where you fail. So I was thinking if people are going to do really good, for their success, I think it's not a big thing. They will be happy. But it's where we have failed. So I wanted to give an example. So this book that I've written, for me, I wish that someone here wrote that book. So for those that have been mentoring me from before, then I would have known, at least in some way, what to expect. So I didn't know. I was coming from Luanshya with my friends when they said here, Agatha and Tim. When I was coming to Lusaka, I didn't even know what to expect. Some of my friends already went to the university ahead of time, and they were studying like 2-3 months before us. Me, I just walked in and failed everything just like this. Why didn't somebody prepare me? How do you prepare to come to them? No one had come to them at that time. So this one, I'm wanting to tell people ahead of time, these are the traps. And if you've got children, you've got even who are going to face this world, even if they are saved, there will still be pits and falls. And so I've brought those scars out and how I navigated them. Hopefully that they will be better than me. For me, I broke my legs before I knew that they don't have to break their legs because they've read my book.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, the title of your book is Bridging Worlds. You have moved from the village of Koni to the boardrooms of London and beyond, other places in Europe. Now, for the young person sitting here tonight who feels stuck in their own dust, so to speak, how does your story provide the bridge they need to cross over into their own destiny?
Yeah, so one thing is to recognize that you can't really depend even on your parents. They are not good enough, including like your own father, even your own church is not good enough. You need partnerships and you need friendships and mentors. And some of them, they might not even be in your circles. You might have to find them at school or other places. So in this book, I wanted to come to every young person who has not yet broken their legs. Everyone who has got this dream not broken is so intact. I want to give them a blueprint so that they can actually read ahead of time what to expect. So, for example, as an African child, I'll repeat this. Don't underestimate the prejudices the global world has. So, in order for you to compete globally, you need to be almost like 10 times as good as many other students abroad. And then even entering abroad, like to go into Europe or America, forgive me, Dr. Michael, but you and me are brothers. So entering America, people would be stopping you at the border, just suspecting, is this guy a refugee? And why is he looking like this? There's a lot of things to bring you down. So what I wanted to was to prepare you, because I don't want somebody stopping you at the border and start crying, no, they stopped me entering and so I'm never going to America. Or people challenge you about your color. No, because I'm looking like this. I'm trying to say that you can actually prepare for these things. And when somebody mentions that you are black, you say, I thank God for this color. I like it. I can't exchange it for anything. Again, when somebody says, it seems that you guys are coming from the village, that's our strength. It seems that you guys are Christians, that's your strength. So I wanted this book to be an example for you. So if you don't have a mentor, read this book. It will help. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Maybe I've overspoken. Yes.
Now, you have always maintained that a leader must answer to a higher authority. Now, when a young leader finishes reading this book, what is the one big change you hope happens in how they look at power, money, and the responsibilities of the titles that they hold?
Yes. So, in the end, everyone has to account to someone. And for us who are Christians, we know that we account to God. So, even when you have got a small amount of money and maybe you are a professor, which I am, it's really not about you. It's about how can God use this title to actually magnify himself. So I always think about this. And for the young people listening to me out there and even here, if you have no beacon and you don't think about God and you are just hovering this, maybe you believe in social media, maybe, I think when times are hard, that's when you know. And the times are coming. Somebody told me, like, when you are young, you don't even have too many funerals. But when you reach like 40, 50, then people start dying around you, your colleagues and what, then you can know that life is so hard. So why don't we prepare you? And that's what this book is about, just to let you go through life ahead of time. And I wish somebody, like I said, did this kind of book, because I would have read, and then what we are trying to do, and I'll invite one team to come later on, the Edge Scholar, is basically to create also platforms with online availability. We can actually connect once a month to hear your problems. And there's a QR code in the book to join our hub for mentorship. And that's how, not just read my book, but also connect with me. And then one more thing is that you also have to mentor someone. That's the only payment I want from you.
Wow. Let's put our hands together for the professor. Now, he's talking about mentorship and obviously passing the baton to the next generations to also continue with the mentorship. Before we take a break from this segment, Professor, let me invite Nsama to join us here on stage. And Nsama, please come. So this issue of mentorship, China Manshi, as the professor would say, but China Manshi, what is the impact of the mentorship in your life?
Okay, first of all, I want to start by saying, Professor is my mentor whether he knows it or not, because even how I encountered him, he believed in my vision even before I could believe in my vision. And I figured there are many other young people like me, especially in the medical field, who are limited by the field that they're in. But for Professor, he helped us run with the baton. So that's the impact that's being made. Last year we had our entrepreneurial medical Indaba, and we had some participants showcasing their talents. You guys can just come and join us. So we have some winners from that program. And I'm so glad to have them here because they benefited from Professor's mentorship. Yes. And we have a surprise for you, Professor.
Let's keep the hand going for them. Let's give them.
Guys, give them a round of applause. This is the segment for youth. Yeah. Okay. So the young men who you're seeing here were part of our entrepreneurial medical Indaba last year, 2025. And we have the pencil nerds who are pencil artists who want to present a gift to Professor. You can come.
Yeah.
You can just introduce yourself and what you are giving us.
My name is Mapalo. My colleague is David Zulu. We are medical students from the University of Zambia, but we are not just medical students. We're also pencil artists that have learned a lot from Teledoctor, the medical Indaba, and how we can bridge the gap between our professions and also what we can do to give out to the world.
Thank you very much. Do I open it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sure.
So we decided to give you a token of appreciation for everything that you've done for us, and this is the little thing that we did.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Apparently, I have a portrait too. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
So these are doctors who are exhibiting other talents, not just like treating patients. They can make money. In fact, I want to pay for this. I want to know the price. Thank you so much. Can you talk a little bit about the Edge Scholar?
Okay, so we have a program, a mentorship program called Edge Scholars, Edge EDGE, which stands for Empowering Development, Growth, and Engagement. So this is a program that involves mentoring students in health professions to excel beyond just clinical and academic situations. So we'll be having 1 year-long cohorts which will feature mentorship sessions. We're going to have community outreach programs, and I'm just glad to say that we are launching that program today. So in each and every medical university, we'll be having hubs where we'll have different activities taking place for this particular program. So to launch our program, we're going to be having a debate, an inter-university debate, which is going to be a big, big, big event, if you know what I'm saying. So please, if you know that you're a medical student or you're in any health profession, feel free to reach out to me. I'm the youth coordinator at Teledoctor, and we can engage more on how we can move forward and grow together. Thank you.
Thank you. Another big round of applause indeed for this team of scholars, team of artists. Now, if that pencil sketch was part of your continuous assessment, I'd give an A+ for sure. Oh, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to move on to a segment of our program in which all of us will participate without exception. And this is dinner. So we're going to proceed now to begin to get dinner. And if you look at the back of our hall, dinner has been laid out. There are 2 serving stations on either side of the hall, on opposite sides. So we will start with the front line of tables. To please proceed. We will, I think we can more or less divide the room in half, so that one half is served from one of the stations on that side, the other half the station on the other side. So may I have this table here in front to please proceed, together with the table that is next. Professor Kalamba, you may also proceed to your serving station, as well as yes, Mr. Hurst, Dr. Hurst, to please proceed with those that you're with at the table to be served from that station as well. And then we will then call the next set of tables to also proceed. And as we have our dinner, we will have some music from the band or from the DJ. Over to you.